Hello students, welcome to the third lecture of Thermal Properties of Matter. I am Lalit Midha, your physics teacher, and after covering expansion of solids in second lecture, now in this lecture we will discuss expansion of liquids. Thermal expansion of liquid is similar to expansion of solid, but in liquid we have some limitations. So let us discuss thermal expansion of liquids. First limitation is liquids do not have their own shape. They take the shape of the container. Because they are not having any definite shape, so there is no significance of linear and areal expansion of liquid. Because they are having definite volume, so here in case of liquid we have only volume expansion, right? No linear expansion, no areal expansion for liquid. So no alpha, no beta for liquids. So for liquids we have only gamma, volume expansion coefficient, right? Second limitation, liquids cannot be heated directly, right? Whenever you want to increase the temperature of the liquid, you have to put that liquid in some container. So liquid is heated in a vessel and vessel expands along with the liquid. So when you try to increase the temperature of the liquid, simultaneously there will be increment in the temperature of the container or vessel also. Hence, the observed increase in volume of the liquid is not actual increase in volume, because container is also expanding with the liquid. The expansion of liquid relative to container is apparent expansion. Relative to container or with container, the expansion is known as apparent expansion. The actual expansion of the liquid is called real or absolute expansion, right? Let us understand this point by using these diagrams. Now let us consider a container having some liquid of volume V1 at temperature T1 degree Celsius. Now we will increase the temperature of this complete system. When we increase the temperature of this system, the liquid present in this container will expand, right? And the container will also expand. So in this diagram, I am showing only expansion of liquid, neglecting the expansion of the container, right? So this diagram shows only expansion of liquid. This diagram shows only expansion of the container, neglecting the expansion of liquid in this diagram, only taking expansion of container, right? So let us see this first diagram in which we are taking only expansion of liquid. So as we increase the temperature of the liquid, liquid will expand and the level of the liquid will increase. Suppose the increase in level of the liquid is 10 centimeter. Area is A. So what is the overall expansion of the liquid? Expansion of the liquid is area into length. So A into 10. Right? This is the increment in volume of liquid. That is known as real expansion of liquid. What is the real expansion of the liquid? It is expansion of liquid neglecting the expansion of container. In second case, I am taking expansion of container only, neglecting the expansion of liquid. So when we increase the temperature, the size of the container will increase. Now this container will have more space. So the level of the liquid will decrease because we are getting more space in the container. So level will decrease and that decrease is 2 centimeter. What is the increase in volume of the container? It is equal to A into 2. A is area of cross section, 2 is the decrease in level. That decrease in level is equal to the expansion of the container, right? So expansion of the container is area into 2 and it will decrease the level. Now we are combining these two. When you combine these two diagrams, then we will see the net effect of both expansion of liquid and expansion of container. So this diagram shows the net effect of expansion of liquid as well as expansion of container. So the real expansion or absolute expansion in the liquid is 10 centimeter into area, and the expansion of container is 2 centimeter into area. That will decrease the level because we are getting more volume in the container now. So what is the net effect? Volume expansion of the liquid, that is the real expansion of the liquid, minus volume expansion of the container, because when the volume of the container will increase, the level of the liquid will decrease. So net effect is total increase in volume due to liquid, real liquid, minus decrease in volume due to container. So net effect is 10 minus 2, that is 8 centimeter above the original level. That means this is the net effect of expansion of liquid as well as expansion of container. So the increase in volume visible to us is only 8 centimeter. This is known as apparent increase in volume of liquid, not real increase in volume of liquid. It is not actual increase in volume. It is relative to container because we are subtracting the volume of the container. So relative to container, increase in volume of the liquid is known as apparent expansion. So this is apparent expansion of the liquid, and its value is area into length, that is 8. So apparent increase in volume of the liquid is A into 8. That is visible to us. But originally the increase in volume of the liquid is 10 centimeter. Right? That is known as real or absolute expansion. But what is visible to us? We will see only 8 centimeter because of expansion of container. Right? This 8 centimeter into area is known as apparent increase in volume of the liquid. Got my point? Now let us discuss the two different type of expansion coefficients for liquid. The first one is coefficient of apparent expansion of liquid, and it is represented by gamma A. Apparent expansion is the expansion that is visible to us. In reality, the expansion of the liquid is A into 10. This is the real expansion in the liquid, right? Neglecting the expansion of container. If you include the expansion of container, then the increment in the volume of the liquid is known as apparent expansion. And apparent increase in volume is, here it is 8 into area of cross section. So final volume of this liquid, including the effect of liquid as well as container, is, let us suppose, V2 dash. So gamma A or apparent expansion coefficient is apparent increase in volume divided by original volume into increase in temperature. This is the definition of apparent expansion coefficient. Apparent increase in volume divided by original volume into increase in temperature. Let us suppose the final volume including both the effect is V2 dash and initial volume is V1. So apparent increase in volume is V2 dash minus V1 divided by V1 into T2 minus T1, that is increase in temperature. So delta V apparent divided by V1 into delta T is gamma A. Now let us multiply V2 into delta T here with gamma A. You will get V1 into gamma A into delta T is equal to V2 dash minus V1. And if you shift this V1 this side, you will get V2 dash is equal to V1 into 1 plus gamma A into delta T. This is the apparent final volume of the liquid, including the effect of the container. Right? And this tells us expansion of liquid relative to the container, and the value of gamma apparent depends on both nature of liquid as well as nature of material of the vessel or container, because here we are taking expansion of both liquid as well as container. So gamma depends on both liquid as well as container material. Now second type of coefficient is coefficient of real or absolute expansion of liquid. Real or absolute expansion of liquid, and it is represented by gamma R. This tells us real expansion of the liquid, neglecting the effect of container, only expansion of liquid. So gamma R, the definition is real increase in volume divided by initial volume into increase in temperature. So real increase in volume is, final volume is V2. This is the final volume, including only liquid expansion. Here initial volume is V1, final volume is V2. So increase in volume is V2 minus V1 divided by initial volume V1 into T2 minus T1. Again multiply this to the left hand side. If you solve it, you will get final volume is equal to V1 1 plus gamma R into delta T. This is the final volume of liquid. Real expansion case. That means this one, the final volume of the liquid including only expansion of liquid, not container, right? So value is V1 into 1 plus gamma R into delta T, where gamma R depends only on liquid, because in this case we are not taking effect of expansion of container, right? And what is the unit of gamma R and gamma A? The unit is, this volume will cancel out. Unit will be 1 by temperature, here also 1 by temperature. So unit is 1 by degree Celsius or 1 by Kelvin, right? Next, let us see the relation between the coefficients gamma real, gamma apparent and gamma of solid or container. Relation between gamma apparent, gamma real and alpha. Alpha is linear expansion coefficient of solid, right? And gamma of solid is equal to 3 times of alpha. Next, the apparent increase in volume of the container is equal to real increase in volume minus increase in volume of the container. Let us check it here. The real increase in volume of the container is 10 into A, right? This is the real increase in volume of the liquid without taking the expansion of the container. If we take expansion of the container, then due to increase in volume of the container, level will decrease. And what is the increase in volume of the container? That is A into 2. This volume of the liquid will shift to the container, right? Now what is the apparent increase in volume that is visible to us is only 8. 10 is the real expansion and 2 is the expansion of the container. So overall increase in volume of the container is only 8 into A. So that is equal to 10 into A minus 2 into A is equal to 8 into A. This is the same condition. 8 into A is equal to 10 into A minus 2 into A, right? And the expansion coefficients are proportional to increase in volume. So you can write it as gamma A is equal to gamma real minus gamma of solid. Gamma of solid you can write it as 3 alpha, right? This is gamma apparent, gamma real. And I am taking gamma of solid, or you can say vessel or container, is equal to gamma G. I am taking glass container. Now let us see some relation between them. If gamma real is more than gamma container, this is glass container. If real expansion of the liquid is more than the expansion of the container, then overall there will be increase in level. So that is why gamma apparent will be positive. If this is greater than this, then the subtraction will be more than 0, or it will be positive. Positive means increase in volume. So there will be rise in the level of the liquid when gamma real is more than gamma of container, glass container. Second point, if glass container expansion is more than real expansion of the liquid, if expansion of the container is more than expansion of the liquid, let us suppose 12, in that case overall there will be decrease in level. Why? Because 10 into A, here it will be 12 into A, decrease in level. So overall apparent increase in volume will be negative, or apparent gamma will be less than 0, because solid expansion is more than real liquid expansion. So subtraction will give you negative. There will be fall in the level of the liquid, right? Third point, if both are equal, means real expansion of the liquid and the expansion of the container both are equal. I am taking both are equal. Then they will cancel out each other. If both are equal, they will cancel out each other. If they cancel out each other, there is no change in the level because delta V apparent will be zero. The increase due to expansion of the liquid will be balanced by a decrease in due to expansion of the container. So level of the liquid will remain same. Level of the liquid will remain same. No change in increase in volume. Right? Third, if glass expansion is zero, if I am taking zero expansion for the container, if there is no expansion in the container, this glass container is zero, then apparent change will be equal to the real change. That means the increase in level will be equal to the real expansion of the liquid. In that case also level will increase because there is no decrease in level due to expansion of the container. So overall level will increase. Right? Last, when gamma G is negative, that means container volume decreases. That means container will shrink. If container will shrink, gamma G is negative. So if you put negative here, negative become positive, then gamma apparent will be more than gamma real. Because this is negative become positive, there will be addition. So gamma apparent is more than gamma real. That means the level of the liquid will increase more than the real expansion. Right? Due to decrease in volume of the container, the level will increase and simultaneously the volume of the liquid is also increasing. So there will be more increase in level of the liquid. So overall level of the liquid will increase. Got my point? Now let us discuss some numericals based on apparent expansion. The first is apparent coefficient of expansion of a liquid when heated in copper vessel is C and when heated in silver vessel it is S. Means when you heat a liquid in a copper vessel, then expansion coefficient is C. When you heat the same liquid in silver vessel, then coefficient is S. We have this formula, gamma apparent is equal to gamma real minus 3 alpha. This 3 alpha is for container or for vessel. Next, it is given to you if A is the linear coefficient of expansion of copper. That means alpha for copper is given to you. Then linear coefficient of expansion of silver is asked in the problem. So we have to use this equation 2 times. Why? Because we have two different container but liquid is same. That means real expansion coefficient of liquid is same. Only apparent expansion is different. Right? For copper vessel it is C and linear expansion coefficient of copper is also given to you. That means alpha is given to you equal to A. So this is our first equation for copper vessel. That is equal to C equal to gamma R minus 3 alpha. And what is the value of gamma R? It is C plus 3 alpha. Right? Now for silver vessel, the expansion coefficient is given to you S. So gamma apparent is given to you S, but we have to find out the value of linear expansion coefficient of silver. So we have to find out alpha silver. Now we know liquid is same, so gamma real is same. So let us put the value of gamma real in this equation. When you put the value of gamma real in the equation, you will get S is equal to C plus 3A minus 3 alpha of silver. So calculate the value of alpha of silver, that is equal to C plus 3A minus S divided by 3. So this is the value of linear expansion coefficient of silver. Right? Second problem. In second problem they are saying we have a glass flask and the volume of the flask is given to you 1 liter. That means 1000 cc, 1000 centimeter cube. At 0 degrees Celsius is completely filled with the mercury. So at 0 degrees Celsius, this flask, 1 liter flask, is completely filled with the mercury. The flask and mercury are now heated at 100 degrees Celsius. So the temperature of the complete system is increased to 100 degrees Celsius. Now the mercury will also expand and the container will also expand. The question is, how much mercury will spill out from the container, means how much mercury will come out from the container. We know expansion of liquid is always greater than expansion of solid. So here mercury will expand more as compared to the container. Due to more expansion of mercury, the mercury will come out because there will be less space in this container, because the expansion of the container is less as compared to the mercury or liquid. So what is the increase in volume of the container, glass container, at 100 degrees Celsius? So increase in volume, we have a formula, delta V is equal to V gamma delta T. That is increase in volume of the container. So increase in volume of the container is 1000 cc, that is the initial volume of the container, into gamma of glass given in the question, 0.1 into 10 raised to the power minus 4, put it here, and increase in temperature. From 0 to 100 degrees Celsius, the increase in temperature is 100. If you multiply these three, you will get 3 cc. That means the increase in volume of the container is only 3 centimeter cube. Now let us check what is the increase in volume of mercury. Again, by using the same formula, delta V is equal to V into gamma into delta T. And this gamma is the real expansion of the mercury that is also given in the problem. So put the value, initial volume of the mercury is also 1000 cc. This is 1000 cc, right? So initial volume is 1000 cc and gamma value is 1.8 into 10 raised to the power minus 4. Increase in temperature is again 100, from 0 to 100. So when you multiply these three, then we will get 18.2 cc. You can see here that volume expansion of liquid is much greater than solid. Container is expanding by 3 cc only, 3 centimeter cube only. Mercury is expanding by 18.2 cc. That means the expansion in mercury is much greater than expansion of container. So we have extra mercury in this container. Some mercury will be adjusted by the volume 3 centimeter cube. Rest of the mercury will come out from the container. So mercury that will spill out from the container is the expansion in the mercury minus expansion in the container, because 3 cc mercury will be adjusted in the container because we have extra space 3 cc at 100 degrees Celsius. So total volume of the mercury that will come out from the container is the subtraction of these two. So 15.2 centimeter cube volume of the mercury will come out from the container. Got it? Next point is applications of expansion of liquids. And the first application is condition for unoccupied volume. It is known as air volume. Present in a container containing liquid to remain constant with increase in temperature. That means when we increase the temperature of container and liquid, the unoccupied volume or air volume remain constant. Let us understand this with a simple diagram. At temperature T1 degrees Celsius, the area of cross section of the container is A1 and length of air column is L1. So what is the air volume? It is A1 into L1, that is equal to V, right? And we have some liquid also with volume V1. So as we increase the temperature, the container will expand lengthwise also, area wise also, and the liquid will also expand, right? So final area of cross section of the container is A2. That will be more than A1. So area of cross section is increased and the length will also increase. So area and length of air column is L2 now. So what is the volume? It's A2 into L2 at T2 degrees Celsius. T2 degrees Celsius is higher than T1 degrees Celsius. So air volume remains same. If air volume remains same, that means A1 into L1 is equal to A2 into L2. Both are equal to V. So A1 into L1 is equal to A2 into L2. we know that area of cross section will increase with increase in temperature. So A2 area is more than A1 area. So if area is increased, automatically length will decrease because volume remain constant. So here length L2 is less than length L1. So L2 is less than L1. That means there will be rise in the level of the liquid. So when unoccupied volume remain constant in a container with increase in temperature, then there will be rise in the liquid. Why? Because area will increase and length will decrease. So there will be rise in the level of the liquid. Next point. If unoccupied volume remain constant with temperature, means expansion of liquid is equal to expansion of container. This is very important point. This volume is V1. Liquid volume is V1. When we increase the temperature, upper volume remains same. Right? The unoccupied volume remains same. So expansion of the liquid is balanced by expansion of the container here, because the upper volume remains same. That means the expansion of the liquid is balanced by the expansion of the container, and the upper volume or unoccupied volume remains same. So here expansion of container and expansion of liquid both are equal. Container expansion, we have a formula, delta V is equal to V into gamma into delta T, right? So here delta V for container, increase in volume of the container, is V of container, gamma of container into delta T, and it is equal to increase in volume of the liquid. So V of liquid, volume of the liquid, into gamma of liquid into delta T. Delta T will cancel out, and we will get this condition that V container into gamma container is equal to volume of liquid into gamma of liquid, and this container gamma is equal to 3 alpha, linear expansion coefficient, right? This condition is very important whenever it's given in the question that unoccupied volume or air volume remain constant with increase in temperature, right? Now the second application, to compensate expansion of container using mercury, and the device based on it is dilatometer. What we will do in this, we will put some mercury in the container to compensate the effect of expansion of container. A small amount of mercury is taken in a container such that its expansion is equal to expansion of container made of glass. So we will use a glass container here. As we increase the temperature of the container, the volume of the container will increase. Let us suppose the volume of the container is increased by delta V amount. When we increase the temperature from T1 degree Celsius to T2 degree Celsius. But we don't want to take the effect of expansion of container. We want to cancel the effect of expansion of container. So we will put some mercury in the container. Volume of the container that we need is Vc. This is the volume of the container. Some mercury is inside the container and its volume is VHG, right? Now if I increase the temperature to T2 degree Celsius, then there will be expansion in liquid or mercury also, and there will be expansion in the container also. We want same volume. We don't want to increase the volume of the container, open space. So if the volume expansion of the mercury is equal to the volume expansion of the container, then extra mercury will balance the extra volume of the container. It will cancel out the extra volume given by the container, and if these two are equal, then volume of the container, open space inside the container, will remain constant if extra volume of the container is taken by mercury, right? Expansion of container should be equal to expansion of mercury so that the open space inside the container remain constant. That means delta Vc is Vc into gamma C into delta T, that is volume of the container into gamma of container into delta T, is equal to volume expansion of mercury, that is VHG into gamma Hg into delta T. Delta T will cancel out and we will get this important result, and this is the basic principle of dilatometer. So we will place some mercury in such a way that expansion of mercury will balance the expansion of the container, and apparent expansion in the liquid is equal to 0, right? In this case, apparent expansion will be 0 because real expansion in liquid is balanced by expansion of the container. If we use a glass container, then instead of container VC, we will use VG, and gamma C is equal to gamma G. Now if you calculate the volume of Hg divided by volume of glass container, it is equal to gamma Hg divided by gamma of glass. Practically, this ratio is equal to 1/7 approximately, right? If you put the practical values of these two, then we will get approximately 1/7. That means volume of mercury should be 1/7 of the volume of glass container. Then there will be no effect of expansion of container as we increase the temperature, because the expansion of container is balanced by expansion of mercury, right? Now let us see some numericals. First is how much mercury must be placed inside the flask having volume 300 centimeter cube, so that volume of the remaining space inside the flask may be constant at all the temperatures. Means we have to compensate the effect of expansion of container with mercury, and we have this condition, and gamma of the mercury is given to you, and alpha of the flask, linear coefficient of the flask, is given to us. According to this condition, volume of the container into gamma of container is equal to volume of mercury into gamma of mercury. Volume of the container is given to us 300 cc, and gamma of flask is 3 times of alpha. Alpha is given to us, so put it here. Volume of the mercury we have to find out. Gamma of the mercury is directly given in the question. Put the value and solve it. Volume of the mercury will be equal to 50 cc. That means in 300 centimeter cube flask, we have to put 50 centimeter cube mercury to balance the effect of expansion of container with mercury, right? Next problem. A long cylindrical metal vessel having a linear coefficient alpha is filled with liquid up to a certain level. On heating it, it is found that height of liquid column in the cylinder remains same. That means on heating, height of the liquid is not changing. What is the volume coefficient of the liquid? So we have to find out the volume coefficient of the liquid. The condition given to us is that on heating, height of the liquid is not changing. So let us suppose we have this container. Area of cross section A and height of the liquid is H at T1 degree Celsius. Now if I increase the temperature of the system, container will expand and area become A plus delta A. Delta A is the increment in the area of cross section, and height of the liquid is same. So if we increase the temperature by delta T, then volume of the liquid will also increase and area of cross section of the container will also increase. Here this shows the extra volume of the liquid. This is the extra volume of the liquid, and that extra volume of the liquid, that is delta V, increase in volume of the liquid, is equal to area, increase in area into H. So the extra volume of the liquid is balanced by increase in area of cross section of the container into H. So volume of the liquid is area into H. This is area into H. This is the volume V, right? Now what is the increase in volume of the liquid? This is the increase in volume of the liquid, delta V, and that increase in volume of the liquid is balanced by the extra area of cross section, height is same, extra area of cross section delta A into H. So increase in volume of the liquid is delta A into H. This is increase in area of cross section of the container. Now this delta V is increase in volume of the liquid. What is the increase in volume of the liquid? It is V gamma delta T. V is the volume of the liquid, gamma is volume coefficient of the liquid, and delta T is increase in temperature. And here, what is the increase in area of cross section of the container? It is A beta into delta T. A is area of cross section, initial. Beta is areal coefficient of expansion, beta, and delta T. Height is same, h. Now, what is the volume? Volume is area into h. So replace volume with area into h. Delta T is already cancelled out. Now gamma L, that is the volume coefficient of liquid, is equal to area into 2 alpha, because beta is 2 alpha, into h. So this area h will cancel out. So what is the remaining term? Remaining term is gamma of liquid, and they are asking volume expansion of the liquid. Volume expansion of the liquid is 2 times the linear expansion of container. Got it? In next point, let us see the variation in density of the liquid with increase in temperature. With increase in temperature, the volume of the liquid will increase. Mass of the liquid remain constant. So if volume is increasing, automatically density of the liquid will decrease. It is similar to this pattern. If I increase the temperature of the liquid, then its volume will increase in this manner. Right? If volume will increase, then density of the liquid will decrease. Volume is expanding, mass is same, so density will decrease. Now let us suppose at T1 degree Celsius, the density of the liquid is D1 and volume of the liquid is V1. At T2 degree Celsius, that is more than T1 degree Celsius, density is D2 and volume of the liquid become V2. What is the value of V2? According to liquid expansion, V2 is V1 into 1 plus gamma real into delta T. Real expansion of the liquid into delta T. Mass of the liquid is volume into density, that is constant. So V1 into D1 at temperature T1 is equal to V2 into D2 at temperature T2. So put the value of V2. V2 is V1 into 1 plus gamma real into delta T. V1 will cancel out. So what is the value of D2? D2 is density of the liquid at T2 degree Celsius, and D1 is density of the liquid at T1 degree Celsius, and it is D2 equal to D1 divided by 1 plus gamma real into delta T. This is the exact relation between the two densities. If you want to find out the approximate relation, then use binomial expansion. Move this denominator to the numerator, it becomes power minus 1. Because gamma real is very small, 10 raised to power minus 5. So we can use binomial expansion and this power will come in multiplication. So it becomes D1 into 1 minus gamma real into delta T. This is the approximate result and this is the exact result. Similarly, when the liquid is heated from 0 degree Celsius to T degree Celsius, let its density vary from D0 to dt. So T1 degree Celsius is the initial temperature, 0 degree. T2 degree Celsius is the final temperature, T. Initial density is D0 and final density is dt. Now put the values in this relation. If you put the values, then D1 is D0 and 1 plus gamma real into delta T is same and D2 is dt. So this is the relation at T degree Celsius. And what is the approximate result by using binomial expansion? It is D0 into 1 minus gamma real into delta T. You can see in this relation, as we increase the temperature, density of the liquid will decrease because denominator is increasing. In approximate result also you can see it, as we increase the temperature, subtraction will increase, so overall density will decrease, right? Now the third application of expansion of liquids. This is effect of temperature on upthrust. What is upthrust? Upthrust is the buoyancy force applied by the liquid on the body when we put the body inside liquid. And this buoyancy force or upthrust is proportional to the volume of the body that is present inside the liquid. If complete body is present inside the liquid, then the force is proportional to the complete volume of the body. If half volume of the body is inside the liquid, then the force will be proportional to half of volume of the body, right? Magnitude of the buoyancy force or upthrust is volume of the body that is inside liquid and density of the liquid into g, acceleration due to gravity. And the direction of force is always in upward direction. So liquid always apply force in upward direction, and that force is proportional to the volume of the body that is present inside the liquid and density of the liquid and g. Now let us see the effect of temperature on this buoyancy force. So with increase in temperature, volume of the body will increase and density of the liquid will decrease. So if we increase the temperature of the system, the volume of the body will increase, solid expansion, and the density of the liquid will start decreasing. So buoyancy force will also change because volume will increase, density of the liquid will decrease. So let us suppose at T1 degree Celsius temperature, volume of the body is V1 and the density of the liquid is ρ1. So this is the body that is present inside liquid and the volume is V1 and volume expansion coefficient of the solid body is gamma S and volume expansion coefficient of liquid is gamma L. Now the buoyancy force or upthrust is volume into density into G. Volume of the body, density of the liquid into G. Now let us increase the temperature at T2 degree Celsius, that is more than T1 degree Celsius. The volume will increase, and what is volume expansion? Final volume is V2 equal to V1 1 plus gamma S into delta T. This is for solid. Density of the liquid will decrease and the final density ρ2 is ρ1 divided by 1 plus gamma liquid into delta T. So density decreases, volume increases. Now let us check the new upthrust. This is the new upthrust force or new buoyancy force. This buoyancy force is new volume, new density into G. New volume is V1 into 1 plus gamma S into delta T. New density is ρ1 divided by 1 plus gamma L into delta T into G. So this is the new buoyancy force. This is the old buoyancy force at T1 degree Celsius. Now let us divide these two equations. So second equation divided by first equation. So new buoyancy force divided by old buoyancy force. New upthrust divided by old upthrust is a ratio of these two equations. If you divide these two equations, these values will cancel out. Right? These values will cancel out and we will get new upthrust divided by old upthrust as 1 plus gamma S delta T divided by 1 plus gamma L delta T. Now we know liquid expansion is more than solid expansion. So expansion coefficient for liquid is more than expansion coefficient of solid. So gamma L is more than gamma S, that means denominator is more than numerator. So this ratio will be less than 1 because numerator is less, denominator is more. Gamma L is more. So ratio will be less than 1. So from this you can say new upthrust is less than the old upthrust. That means new upthrust at higher temperature is less than upthrust at lower temperature. So as we increase the temperature of the system, the upthrust force will decrease. If the condition is reverse, if gamma solid is more than gamma liquid, if it is given in the problem that gamma solid is more than gamma liquid, means expansion of solid is more than expansion of liquid, then there will be reverse condition. Numerator is more than denominator. So ratio will be greater than 1. If ratio is greater than 1, then new upthrust force will be more than old upthrust force. That means with increase in temperature, upthrust will increase. Reverse condition, right? So you have to remember this formula. In general, liquid expansion is always greater than solid expansion. So in general, we can say that with increase in temperature, upthrust force will decrease, right? Next point is apparent weight. What is the difference between actual weight and apparent weight? Let us check with the simple diagram. A person is standing on weighing machine. What is the reading of weighing machine? Reading of weighing machine is always equal to the force applied by the person on the machine. So this person is pushing the machine with a force mg, and this force will be measured by the machine, and the measured value will be equal to mg. This is the actual weight of the person, that is equal to mg. Now let us suppose somebody is pulling this person with a force F in upward direction. So the force applied by the person on the weighing machine will be less than mg. It is not equal to mg because somebody is pulling this person in upward direction with force F. So the force applied by the person is less. So the reading of weighing machine will be less than mg. That is not the actual weight of the person. So this is known as apparent weight of the person, that is visible in the machine, not the actual weight. So apparent weight is mg minus F. F is the force applied in upward direction. So net downward force on the machine is mg minus F, and that is the reading of weighing machine, and that is equal to the apparent weight of the person, right? Now, in case of buoyancy force or upthrust, there is a force acting on a body that is in upward direction, that is equal to thrust force. Mg weight is in downward direction. Now, if I place some weighing machine here, then the reading of that weighing machine will be less than mg. So the reading is not equal to the actual weight of the body, that will be equal to the apparent weight of the body. So what is the apparent weight of this body? That is equal to mg minus thrust, actual weight minus thrust force. And we know if we increase the temperature of the system, upthrust force will decrease. If upthrust force will decrease, then apparent weight will increase, because when we decrease this upthrust, then the subtraction value will decrease. Hence, the apparent weight will increase. So, with increase in temperature, thrust is decreasing, but apparent weight is increasing. This condition is true for when gamma L is more than gamma solid. Means liquid expansion is more than solid expansion. Now, let us take one example. The coefficient of real expansion of mercury is given to you 0.38 into 10 raised to power minus 3 per degree Celsius. If density of mercury at 0 degree Celsius is this, then what is the density at 100 degree Celsius? That means this question is based on density relation with temperature, and we have the relation that density at T degree Celsius is equal to density at 0 degree Celsius divided by 1 plus gamma into delta T. Everything is given to you. Density at 0 degree Celsius 13.6. Gamma is also given to you. Put in this relation, right? We will get 13.6 divided by 1 plus 0.038. This calculation is little bit difficult. So what we will do? This data is very small as compared to 1. So we can use binomial expansion. We will move this to the numerator, power become minus 1. If this data, that is equal to x, is very less than 1, then you can write it as 1 plus nx. Power will come in multiplication. So 13.6, 1 minus 0.038. And after solving it, you will get 13.1 gram per centimeter cube. Right? Now let us see one problem based on buoyancy force. A cube of coefficient of linear expansion alpha s is floating in a bath containing a liquid of coefficient of volume expansion gamma L. When temperature is raised by delta T, the depth up to which the cube is submerged in the liquid remains same. So here alpha for this cube is given to you and gamma of the liquid is also given to you. And they are asking, when we increase the temperature, this depth h remains same. That means the depth of the cube that is inside the liquid remains same with increase in temperature. Then what is the relation between alpha and gamma of the liquid? Let us suppose at lower temperature the area of the cube is A1, density of the liquid is D1 and depth up to which cube is inside the liquid is H. Weight of the cube is mg and the thrust force is Th. Now we will increase the temperature, and increase in temperature is delta T. With increase in temperature, the volume of the cube will increase, it will expand, and the density of the liquid will decrease because of liquid expansion. Now final area of the cube is A2 and that is equal to A1 into 1 plus beta into delta T. What is beta? Beta is 2 alpha, right? So new area is A2 and new density at higher temperature is D2, that is equal to D1 divided by 1 plus gamma L into delta T, that is less than the initial density, right? Weight will remain same because mass is same. Thrust will change. This is the new value of thrust, Th dash, right? Now if the cube is floating, that means it is not going down, not going up. It is in equilibrium condition. What is the meaning of equilibrium condition? Equilibrium means net force in downward direction is balancing net force in upward direction. So these two are equal for floating or equilibrium condition. Means weight of the cube is balanced by upthrust by the liquid in the two conditions. For both the two conditions, weight is equal to upthrust. First condition, what is weight? Mg. What is upthrust? It is volume inside into density into g. What is volume inside? Volume is area into this depth h. So area into depth h, that is inside volume, this volume, into density d1 into g. Now for the second condition, again mg is equal to the thrust force. This is the new thrust force, new volume inside into density into g. What is the new volume that is inside? Area of cross section is A2, depth is again equal to h. So A2 into h into new density d2 into g. Now because both the two conditions are equal to mg, this thrust is also equal to mg and new thrust is also equal to mg. So we can compare these two thrusts because both are equal to mg. So compare these two thrusts. A1 into h into d1 into g is equal to A2. What is the value of A2? A2 is A1 1 plus beta into delta T. Put the value of A2. H same. Density at higher temperature is d1 divided by 1 plus gamma into delta T. d1 divided by 1 plus gamma into delta T into g. So now if we compare it, g and g will cancel out, d1 will cancel out, A1 h will cancel out. So now what is the final result? Final result will be 1 plus gamma into delta T is equal to 1 plus beta. What is beta? Beta is 2 alpha. So 2 alpha into delta T. Now if you compare it, 1 will cancel out, delta T will cancel out, and final result is gamma of liquid is 2 times of alpha of solid, or you can say gamma of liquid is equal to beta of solid. Right? Fourth application of expansion of liquids. Correction for barometer reading. First of all, let us understand what is barometer. Barometer is a device which measures atmospheric pressure in terms of height of mercury column. This is a barometer, container containing mercury and a glass tube having some amount of mercury in it. This barometer is based on very important concept of fluid, that on horizontal level each and every point will have same amount of pressure. So pressure at A, B and C are equal because they are on the same horizontal level. A and C are on the surface of the liquid, directly in contact with the atmosphere. Pressure at A and C is equal to atmospheric pressure. But B is not in contact with atmosphere. So who will create pressure at B? Pressure at B is not due to atmosphere. It is due to the weight of mercury above it. So B point will have pressure P naught because on horizontal level pressure is same. So pressure at B is equal to atmospheric pressure. But that pressure is not due to atmosphere. That pressure will be due to the height or the weight of the mercury above it. So let us calculate the pressure at B point. So pressure at B point is force upon area. What is the force? It is weight of the mercury above it divided by area. What is weight? Weight is mass into G. Mass is volume into density. So what is the volume? Area of cross section into length. Area of cross section is A. So A into H is the volume into density of mercury into G. A will cancel out. So pressure at B point is equal to H rho G, where H is the height of the mercury column and rho is the density of the mercury. And this pressure at B point is equal to pressure at C point and A point, and that is equal to atmospheric pressure. So pressure at B is equal to atmospheric pressure. If you calculate the height of the mercury, then you can calculate the atmospheric pressure also, because height of the mercury into Hg into density of mercury into G is equal to atmospheric pressure. If you calculate atmospheric pressure, practically the height of mercury will be 76 centimeter. So 1 atmospheric pressure is equal to weight created by 76 centimeter of mercury, right? So this barometer is giving us atmospheric pressure in terms of height of mercury. If we have more pressure, then height will be also more. Now let us see what correction we have to do in calculation of barometer reading. Now brass scale is used to measure the height of mercury column. Brass scale of barometer is usually calibrated at 0 degrees Celsius. That means this brass scale will show you correct reading at 0 degrees Celsius. If observation is taken at different temperature, then correction is needed for brass scale, because as we increase the temperature, the length of the brass scale will change, right? If length will change, then this brass scale will give us wrong reading. Now at 0 degrees Celsius, height of the mercury column is H naught. So this is the correct value. This is the correct height of the mercury at 0 degrees Celsius. Now at T degrees Celsius, observed height is H. This is the reading, and this reading is incorrect. There will be some error in the reading because the height of the scale will also increase with increase in temperature. Now what is the true value of height of mercury? That is from the expansion of solid. That true value is equal to L plus delta L. Here we have H, so true value is H plus delta H, where delta H is the error. So the true value is H into 1 plus alpha into T minus 0, because the delta T is from 0 to T, so T minus 0. This is the true value of height of mercury. Now atmospheric pressure remain constant. Pressure at 0 degrees Celsius is equal to pressure at T degrees Celsius. Pressure at 0 degrees Celsius is H naught rho naught into G. This is density at 0 degrees Celsius. H naught is height of the mercury column at 0 degrees Celsius. It is equal to true value of height of mercury into density of mercury at T degrees Celsius into G. Now let us put the true value of height of mercury. It is H 1 plus alpha into T, and density at T degrees Celsius is rho naught divided by 1 plus gamma into T. If you do calculation, then rho naught G will cancel out, and move this quantity to the numerator. it become power minus 1. So H naught is equal to H into 1 plus alpha t, and by using binomial expansion this power will come in multiplication. So it become 1 minus gamma into t. Now multiply it, you will get 1 plus alpha t minus gamma t minus alpha into gamma t square. This value is very small. Why? Because alpha and gamma both are nearly 10 raised to power minus 5. This will be 10 raised to power minus 10. So this value is very small. We can neglect it. So when you neglect this, final answer you will get H naught is equal to H 1 minus gamma minus alpha into t, where H naught is the correct height at 0 degrees Celsius, where H is the reading of the scale at T degrees Celsius. Gamma is expansion coefficient of liquid, alpha is expansion coefficient of brass scale, and T is the temperature at which we are measuring the height of the mercury column. Right? We have to remember this formula for numericals. Got my point? Last point of liquid expansion, that is anomalous expansion of water. Generally, all liquid expand on heating and they contract on cooling. But that is not true for water. Water is exceptional case. Its expansion is completely different from other liquids. And this different expansion is known as anomalous expansion of water. And this behavior of water is very important for water animals in winter. You can say this behavior of water is God gift for water animals. So let us check the different behavior of water. If we increase the temperature of the water from 0 to 4 degrees Celsius, its volume will decrease. That means it will contract and the density will increase. Normally, if we increase the temperature, volume of liquid increases. But for water, its behavior is different. As we increase the temperature from 0 to 4 degrees Celsius, it will contract. It will not expand, it will contract and its volume will decrease, and its volume is minimum at 4 degrees Celsius and its density is maximum at 4 degrees Celsius. After 4 degrees Celsius, if we further increase the temperature, then its behavior is similar to the other liquids. It will expand. The water will expand when we increase the temperature from 4 degrees Celsius, and the density of water will decrease after 4 degrees Celsius. This different behavior of water is known as anomalous expansion of water. Now let us see the significance of this anomalous expansion. This expansion plays very important role in life of water animals. Why? To understand this point, let us take an example of a lake in a cold country where temperature will reach minus 20 degrees Celsius in winter. Suppose in the starting of winter, temperature is 15 degrees Celsius and it is decreasing to 4 degrees Celsius. So as the temperature will decrease, density of water will increase and volume of water will decrease. Upper layers which are having lower temperature will start moving in downward direction and they will reach at the bottom because they are having maximum density at 4 degrees Celsius. Now the temperature is decreasing from 4 degrees Celsius to 0 degrees Celsius. So as the temperature will decrease further, the density of water will decrease and the upper layers which are having lesser temperature, 0 degrees Celsius, will remain on the upper layer. Why? Because of lower density. These layers are having lower density because at 0 degrees Celsius density is 0.998, whereas 4 degrees Celsius density is 1. So these layers will remain on the upper part of the lake. Now ice will form on the upper layer, and this ice is also having lesser density than water. Ice cube always floats on the water surface. So this ice will remain on the upper layer, and this ice is a non-conductor of heat. So it will block the heat transfer between water and atmosphere. So just below the ice, the temperature will be 0 degrees Celsius. then it is 1 degree Celsius, then it is 2 degree Celsius, then it is 3 degree Celsius, and in the last we have 4 degree Celsius, because 4 degree Celsius water is having maximum density. All the water animals will remain in this region, right? And there will be no transfer of heat between water and atmosphere because of this non-conducting sheet known as ice. This ice shields the inner layers from cooling due to the outside temperature. So temperature in inner layers will remain equal to 0 to 4 degrees Celsius, and all the water animals are safe in this temperature, right? Next, let us see some numericals. First is a barometer with a brass scale which is correct at 0 degrees Celsius reads 75 centimeter on a day when temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. So this barometer is calibrated at 0 degrees Celsius, means it will measure correct value at 0 degrees Celsius. Now we are taking reading at 20 degrees Celsius. So T is 20 and the reading H is 75. They are asking what is the correct value of height at 0 degrees Celsius, right? So we have to find out H naught. H is given to you 1 minus gamma minus alpha into T. So gamma and alpha, both values are given in the question. Gamma is for liquid and alpha is for brass scale. Now put the values. H reading is 75 centimeter. 1 minus value of gamma. Gamma value is given to you, minus value of alpha. Alpha is also given to you. Temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. So put 20 and solve it. You will get 74.758, and this is the correct reading of brass scale at 0 degrees Celsius. Second problem, a vertical column 50 centimeter long at 50 degrees Celsius balances another column of same liquid 60 centimeter long at 100 degrees Celsius. We have two different liquid columns at different temperature, different height. What we have to find out? We have to find out the coefficient of expansion of liquid. We have to find out the value of gamma. So we have two liquid columns. One is at 50 degrees Celsius and length is or height is 50 centimeter. Second is 100 degrees Celsius and height is 60 centimeter, and they are balancing each other, means they are giving same pressure and force at the bottom of the two columns. It means both are having same masses. So we have to compare the masses. Volumes are different, densities are also different because their temperatures are different. So they are having same masses but their volume and densities are different. So balances means both apply same force or pressure at the bottom, means masses are equal, right? Both are having same masses. Now left side mass is volume into density. What is the volume? Volume is area into length. Let us suppose area is A into length is 50 centimeter. So area into 50 into density at 50 degrees Celsius. General formula of density is rho naught divided by 1 plus gamma into T. Right? This is the general formula of density at T degrees Celsius. Here it is 50 degrees Celsius. So it is D naught divided by 1 plus gamma into 50. Second, right side. Right side again volume into density is mass. What is volume? 60 into area of cross section. Area of cross section is A and length is 60. Density at 100 degrees Celsius is D naught divided by 1 plus gamma into 100. Because both are having same masses, then compare these masses. If you compare these masses, area will cancel out, D naught will cancel out. 0, 0, it will also cancel out. Now solve it, multiply this with 5, multiply this with 6. You will get this condition. After solving it, you will get gamma is equal to 1 by 200 per degree Celsius. That is our final answer. Right?